How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you doing? Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Did you mention about chicken wings? We don't have chicken wings.
Yeah, I don't know. What's that smell? It smells delicious.
How are you feeling, obviously, coming off of a UFC debut and to get the win like that?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. It was getting kind of crazy at the end of that second round. I was thinking to myself, man, we're going to have to go another round of this. But yeah, I was able to put him away.
Were you expecting it to go down like that?
I knew I eventually was going to catch him, and I just had to stay composed and just make sure the follow-up shots were fight-ending.
And in terms of coming to London, what was your initial reaction to coming to London to fight and to fight a guy on his home soil?
I'm excited. I think most of my career I had to go and fight people in their backyard, so it's nothing new for me.
What did you think about the crowd and the atmosphere out there?
Oh, it was cool. It was awesome. Of course, they're gonna, cheer for their guy. But on my way out of the octagon, on my way back here, I felt like I got a lot of love from the fans. So I appreciate all them. I appreciate everyone for coming out to the fight.
And what was the overall week like for you? Because of course you missed weight on your first attempt. Was there anything that perhaps went wrong in the run-up to that, or what do you put that down to?
I have another nickname, Johnny Come Lately. So sometimes I'm running late. So, but the plan was to make weight for sure.
Did that have anything to do with perhaps the travel? How do you adjust to having to do that?
Yeah, I really think like my body definitely. I probably could have sweat another 5 pounds if I needed to. I think it was a little bit of kind of like a mental drain. I didn't really get much sleep this week. I actually felt like crap today. But I just didn't let anyone know, and just was like trying to stay positive. And a fight's a fight. If you can't always be prepared. Someone might attack you outside the parking lot. You're not going to say, "Oh, hey, man, wait a second. Let's meet back here in 2 weeks. I'm gonna train for 2 weeks, and then I'll be ready." All right? You can't do that. Sometimes you just got to fight.
And of course, you called out Paddy Pimblett in the octagon. Why him?
To be 100% honest. I got legend Michael Bisping right here. He didn't really ask me a question. He just kind of put the mic in front of me, and I was like, I kind of choked. Really, maybe for the, at some point, maybe I'll try to make my way to lightweight. But who I really wanted to call out was, I heard MVP is a free agent, and there was talks of him coming to the UFC to fight. And, I'd really like to come back to London. Try to sleep a little better the next time, and I don't think MVP can hang with the wrestlers in this division. So I would love to give the fans here in London at the O2 a freaking awesome striking fight, and I think me and MVP could put on a show for the crowd for sure.
Do you embrace the verbal warfare side of things as well? Because you're calling out two guys that aren't afraid of using a microphone, and you don't seem to be afraid of using a microphone either. So is that something that you're looking forward to, those lively press conferences?
Yeah, I think it brings an extra level of excitement. I'm not really like a mad or angry person. Like, I really don't hate anybody or anything like that. But I think, that energy, they could kind of bring that excitement and that energy without it being like negative. More like a fun kind of type of energy, rivalry, that's why, I made a comment about Paddy's haircut. To be honest, when I was freaking 4 years old, I had that same haircut, and eventually my hair started to get a little curly, but I have baby photos of me with that same exact haircut that he has, so.
Did you enjoy the dogfight in there with Danny Roberts as well? And it was quite a sad scene afterwards for him as well. It's a 3-fight losing streak for him, and he was very emotional on his knees crying afterwards. How does it make you feel? It's a brutal sport, isn't it?
Yeah. We're just all out here trying to just make a living for our families, and, as men, we got to be providers and leaders for our families. So, it's tough. It's tough to go through that loss, because it's like, it's not just you fighting for yourself out there. You're fighting for your family, you know what I mean? I coach Muay Thai back in Las Vegas at Syndicate, and I got a lot of students that look up to me. Since winning Contender Series, I cornered somebody every month up until May this year. I cornered fighters, sometimes 7 fighters in one night, sometimes 10 to 15 fighters over a weekend Muay Thai tournament. So like there were some months where I cornered 2-3 times in a month. So I was like, you know, after Contender Series, getting ready for my debut, I had some injuries and stuff, and I had to completely, you know, take a bunch of time off training. And then that's when I kind of was just like so invested in coaching and trying to help young fighters in ways where I felt like, you know, 14 years ago, if only someone took me a little more serious and gave me the help that, you know, I needed, you know, so I just try to be that person for these young fighters and, you know, help them get fights and then, you know, be there to corner them and things like that. So I was like really invested in that. And then I just had to tell them like, hey, it's my turn now, guys. And I had to take a little bit of time off and started coaching less classes, doing less, you know, personal lessons and stuff and, you know, focus on myself.
And what did you make of being in enemy territory in England tonight? I think you won over all the fans in there with that performance.
Yeah, you know, it's like I said, you know, I've been there before. You know, majority of my fights, you know, my amateur career was all in Las Vegas. They have a pretty solid amateur scene there. But once I went pro, they really don't have any regional pro fights in Vegas to build your record. So like I was always going to other places to fight, you know. So I'm used to it. You know, I've fought in Hawaii twice, you know, I fought in China, I fought in Thailand, so, you know, other states. So I'm used to going to enemy territory. That's just what we do.
Final one, if the MVP fight doesn't happen, if he doesn't sign with the UFC, and if you're not dropping down to meet Paddy anytime soon, who at welterweight would you want?
Man, that's tough. There's a lot of good fighters. I know that there's that card coming up in Vegas at the T-Mobile, September 16th. You know, I'd love to fight maybe you know, a Mexican fighter on that card. You know, that would be pretty exciting.
Well done on the performance.
Thank you.
Jonny, just here. You've mentioned obviously Paddy and spoke about his hair. Do you think you rock the better haircut than him?
Definitely. Let's make a vote. Someone put the vote up.
We'll run a poll on Twitter.
Yeah.
Did the mullet come into consideration and sacrificing that when you missed weight the first time round? Did you ever consider sacrificing the mullet?
Yeah, I was when we were cutting the last pound. There was some moments where I told my coach, I was like, man, just cut it off. And I said, hey, just leave a little piece of the mullet in the back. We'll make it to a little, you know, a little Jedi Padawan braid. I said, hey man, I'm not a Jedi Knight anymore. I'm demoted. I'm a Padawan because I didn't make it. So I was ready to let some of the hair go and just have like a little braid hanging by because I'm a Star Wars fan.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Hey Jonny, just one for me. How did you get the nickname, the Sluggernaut?
Man, honestly, I think it was something I came up with as a joke. The name I was rocking with before was the Paradox, you know, because and that kind of came out from, I had broke my foot at some point in my career and the recovery was rough. And when I first started training again, I couldn't have my right foot as my rear foot anymore. It just like, there was just so much pain and I wanted to train. So I was able to have it as my lead foot and kind of have like a flat front foot, you know, using my jab and stuff. And then, you know, it's kind of what, you know, and I learned a lot. I grew a lot as a fighter because of that and kind of realized like, man, Southpaw's weakness is another Southpaw. And I seen that tonight when there was a couple times I went Southpaw and it's like he couldn't stop my jab. I was like, dang, this is kind of easy, you know. Maybe I should just stay Southpaw the rest of the fight, you know. But yeah, the Sluggernaut was kind of like a joke name. And then man, when I would tell everybody it and I would say my little punchline for it, they were just like, dude, we love that. Man, forget the Paradox. That's not cool at all. You got to be the Sluggernaut. So I just started rocking that.
Well done tonight. Do you know what? I love watching you perform tonight. You look like you was enjoying every single minute. You clearly love the sport. Even now, you've got a big smile on your face. I know you've won. But what does the sport mean to you? Aside from performing around the world and getting the victories, what does this sport mean to you?
Man, it means everything. From a young age, you know, when I started to learn, you know, when I started to realize that, like, you can get respect with your fist. And I'm not a mean person. Like, I wasn't getting in, like, lots of fights growing up and stuff. But, you know, very quickly at a young age, I realized, like, man, people respect me because of this. And, you know, I started getting into training and things like that. And I wasn't the most academic person, and where I really found my calling was training martial arts. And really, since 16 years old, I've just invested all my time into training. And there was points in my career where I wasn't managed. I wasn't being managed, and I just was taking hard fights, whatever I could get. And there was points where I was jumping back and forth from Muay Thai and MMA, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was like, I honestly thought I screwed everything up. I was like, man, I did this all wrong. And and then eventually I caught eyes of some managers and stuff, and they helped build me up, and that's how I'm here now.
Like I said, you're very positive, and I love that. Like, it's quite infectious how positive you are. You said you didn't feel good this morning. So how do you cope with that? Because there's a lot of us in the world, we wake up, we don't want to go to work, or we're not feeling mentally great. What's your coping mechanisms?
I don't even know if it's really like a coping mechanism, but sometimes you just got to deal with it. It's like you can't just stop. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep going. So I just think there's not really any. I think the special recipe is just do it. You have to. You just got to do it.
Yeah, I suppose you feel worse if you don't do it. So you just got to do it, and you feel better at the end of it. So my last one, you came in here talking about chicken wings. Have you heard we've got a Nando's in the UK? Have you heard of Nando's?
I heard about it recently this week. I heard it's really good.
There you go. That's
it's
where you get your
fancy.
wings.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Well done tonight.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you, everybody.